I came upon a radiance that was not light alone, but the presence of something holy and ancient, vast. Soft gold washed the air as if breaths of 1,000 dawns and eternal mornings filled the vaulted expanse above. In the center, a throne rose like a mountain of light, carved from pure radiance, crowned with slow, trembling stars, and whispered glory around it. Around it, angels gathered, not as trophies, but as a chorus of faithful hearts, each voice a bright, living instrument, lifting timeless hymns of wonder. They moved with a gravity older than memory, wings fanning slow winds that smelled of frankincense, sea, and the hush before morning breaks beneath banners of woven light and awe. The sound that rose was not mere music, it was the geometry of praise, a slow, expanding language that shaped the very air into benediction and carrying every longing home. They sang the names that steady the stars, utterances older than speech, carrying truth like a lamp held high, still. Faces of light turned outward, reflecting mercy in 1,000 gentle echoes, each gaze a promise made visible and near. An elder angel stepped forward, not to claim, but to offer testimony of valleys lifted, of sorrow turned to song, and of lives tenderly mended. He spoke without language, and yet the court understood. Images of rivers, harps, and hands that never let go unfolded like dawn, and returning home. Light trembled as questions were set down, not to be answered as before, but to be folded gently into a greater yes that surpasses sorrow, that holds every brave thing. The choir swelled, layers upon layers, a living architecture of sound that rebuilt broken hope into a temple of praise, and set the captives free with a mercy like morning. From the throne rose a current, a gracious pull that invited every heart into the climb toward light and sight. Angels ascended and descended not in haste, but in a cadence like prayer, each step a benediction falling soft, sure. A childlike angel knelt, offering a small song. The throne received it as a pearl, raising the simple offering into vastness and beaconing home again. Visions unfolded, great gardens, cities of glass, quiet kitchens where bread was broken, all held within the same sacred yes and promised rest without end. Sometimes the throne glimmered with a tenderness that seemed almost foolishly kind, as if mercy delighted to surprise the serious world and gathered scattered pieces of weary lives home again. Beneath the vast music, small stories were honored, a tear dried, a promise kept, a hand held through the dark, each named and carried in the memory of light forever. A liturgy began, not written on paper, but woven in gesture, bowls raised, incense descending, the slow turning of angels toward mercy, and every motion bookmarked the story of salvation. From the flanks of the throne, banners of light unfurled that carried memory, proclamation, and a quiet insistence on joy into the smallest settled sorrow. Angels mapped each life with care, noting scars, naming courage, blessing the simple acts that keep the world together still. Sometimes the music was silence, a held breath that listened for the hidden heart beneath complaint and triumph alike and named its small stubborn hope. At times an angel would step aside to cradle a memory, a mother's lullaby, a last conversation, presenting it before the throne like treasure, and the throne smiled and remembered. The orchestral swell gathered like rain clouds, then broke into small lights that draped the gathered angels in careful astonishment, and each light held mercy, truth, and an unending promise always. As the hours unfolded, the throne did not diminish, it widened, making room for every weary heart that came wandering. An angel took a fragment of light and tucked it gently into a human hand before releasing praise again, softly. Those who had listened left with a hush in their mouths, carrying a melody that would surface in laughter, bread, and bedside prayers, tending others. The angels did not vanish. They lingered at thresholds, in hospital corridors, and at kitchen tables, staying near the small, faithful stirs of ordinary courage. Sometimes the memory of that court would wake a child in the night who would whisper a question and feel suddenly known and then sleep, bearing a small light always. At the end, the throne did not depart. It reached outward like a river meeting sea into every life, making ordinary days a place of sacred return and tender rest.